Are there any inmate attorneys present?
Yes.
Do I have one in here for Malcolm Williams?
Hello, I couldn't hear the question. What was the question, sir?
Did I have an attorney in here for Malcolm Williams?
I believe that was my attorney, Mr. Malcolm. Sounds really familiar. Give me 1 second.
I have a
Or
Malcolm
Malcolm Turner?
Turner. Yeah.
Malcolm Turner, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, I have a Malcolm Turner. Turner.
Correct, yes.
You can send the chat to me if you need any question to be answered.
I just wanted to make sure you were in here and that the victim services got my messages to you.
Not yet. You can text me or I'll text you my number and then you can call me, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to begin with our expedited accusation calendar with the State Court of Fulton County. These are cases in which individuals were recently arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail based upon outstanding warrants. Upon being booked at the jail, the cases have now been formally accused by the prosecutor, who is the Solicitor General of Fulton County. Hence, this would be the defendant's initial appearance or first appearance before a judge. And at this time, I will let the defendant know what is your new accusation number, what are the charges brought against you, who is your appointed counsel if one needs to be appointed, and to set a bond as well as to give you a court date where necessary. If you are a defendant charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you in the treatment of your case. Remember that this is a virtual court proceeding that's not only being recorded but live streamed. So be very mindful of what you say and please let your attorney speak on your behalf. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. I have a young lady by the name of Fizi. Please remove her from Zoom until she's parked her car. For the rest of you who are, if you're not a defense attorney, if you're not a defense attorney, basically, but you're a victim or an alleged family supporter or friend supporter, please stop your video and keep it on mute. You can start your video and unmute when you hear the defendant whose case you are interested in participating. All right, so Aisha iPhone, please stop your video and mute. Maha iPhone, please stop your video and mute. Okay, good afternoon, Ms. Bridgewater, and
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your reset date is June the 25th.
thank you. All right, let me go ahead and start with courtroom 2. Who do we have, please?
Position number 8, Low.
All right. Okay. We have Christopher Shondell Lowe charged with simple battery family violence from June 10th, 2024. Mr. Lowe, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Kim. Is it Miss Kim? All right. Who is defense counsel for Mr. Christopher Lowe?
That's probably Miss Atai, and I think she's interviewing a client at the moment.
We can go to number 12, Turner.
All right. Thank you. Whoever is hosting this Zoom proceeding, could you please stop the video for Fizi and for Patricia and Aisha phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Until their case in question comes on. Okay. So now we have position number 12, and this is Malcolm Turner, case number 24 CR 3638G, accused of battery, family violence, and criminal trespass causing damage to property from June 10th, 2024. Mr. Turner, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be, who is counsel for Mr. Turner?
Your Honor, that is my client, and I was just talking to Mr. Devante, and we do need to ask for a breakout room for this client, Your Honor. Can we go to number 13, Washington?
All right. Henry Washington is 24 CR 3640F, accused of battery from June 10th, 2024. Mr. Washington, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim.
Thank you.
Mr.
He got
Howard?
30. He got over 30. History out of DC, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware. 2016 simple assault conviction, 2017 burglary conviction, 2011 attempted burglary conviction, and the 2023 failure to have required insurance. That's all.
Thank you. And who's my prosecutor here?
Good
Mr. Asiano? Yes, Mr. Asiano, yes. And what is the recommendation?
Your Honor, briefly, just a factual basis, this incident occurred June 10th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to 1058 Ridge Avenue Southwest for a fight in progress. Upon arrival, they spoke with the victim, Johnny Arnold, who advised that he came to the incident location to pick up his children. When he arrived, he tried to enter the home. The defendant, who is the child's mother's brother, refused to let him in and proceeded to hit him with a bat. However, the police never found a bat on scene. According to the defendant, his sister, who is the child's mother, instructed him not to let the father take the kids because the living arrangements that he has are not good. He wouldn't let him in, and they started fighting. A witness told police that she saw the victim was shoving the defendant, trying to get him in the house, and then the defendant started fighting the victim. The victim was bleeding from his arm. He was transported to Grady, and it was actually confirmed that he had a broken arm. The police were unable to determine who the primary aggressor was, so it's my understanding both parties were arrested. However, Mr. Arnold, I believe, is still in the hospital, so he's not on our caseload today. And we obviously have not been in touch with him because he's in the hospital. The state is recommending a $2,500 surety bond on the battery and no further contact with the victim, and anger awareness, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And I'll say that our office has been in touch with the district attorney about transferring this case to become an aggravated battery. However, we have to have the medical records. So for purposes of the bond hearing, it's still a misdemeanor. And at this time, if we could sound for Johnny Arnold, I don't expect him to be here.
All right. Is there anyone involved in this case who wants to be addressed? All right. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Washington, is 37 years old. He's been here in Georgia for about a year. They moved here about a year ago, and he is gainfully employed as a driver for a warehouse, and he does have to pay for financially for his coming child that is coming soon. Your Honor, my client was defending his sister and two other ladies at the house. This was completely self-defense, and we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial, whichever level Your Honor it seems to be appropriate. Right now, there's a bond set already for $1,000 a surety bond. I don't think it's appropriate to increase that to $2,500, which is a little bit too high. When both were arrested and he was not the initial aggressor, Your Honor. He has 2 trade schools certifications. He does have some college education for business administration, Your Honor. And we don't have any objection to no further contact with him, and they don't live together, so no further stay away from incident location is also okay as well. Thanks.
Okay. And how many children are involved in this case?
They don't have a child yet. One baby is on the way, Your Honor. Oh, you mean at the scene of the
I
incident?
understand that Mr. Washington was there who was there to meet the child?
I believe the
Oh,
father
Mr.
is
Washington
Mr.
blocked
Arnold.
him. Okay, understood.
Mr. Washington's the uncle.
Understood. Bond is set at $1,000 surety. No further contact with Johnny Arnold. And Mr. Washington may return to the 1058 Ridge Avenue, Southwest Atlanta. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and no firearms. If he owns any firearms, they have to be removed and surrendered to the authorities for destruction. His next court date is going to be June 25th at 9 a.m. Unless he bonds out, then he will be sent a notice for another court date. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Position number 6, Ms. Hudson.
Who's representing Ms. Hudson?
I am, Your Honor.
All right, that's okay. This is Selena Hudson, accused of simple battery family violence from June 10th under accusation 24 CR 3628B. Ms. Hudson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Any priors?
34, 2023 disorderly conduct, 2017 shoplifting dismissed, 2018 larceny, 07 robbery battery conviction. Level 2.
Ms. Tucker, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge. I'll be handling the first 6 positions on this calendar.
Okay.
In this case, we'd be asking for a $5,000 good bond with no further contact with Zylexia Grayson. That's Zylexia, Grayson normal spelling, as well as to stay away from 3522 Devon Chase Road in South Fulton. That recommendation is based on the history. You did hear 34 priors out of Alabama, out of Florida, out of Georgia. Additionally, the facts of this case, the facts allege that she was sitting on her bed in her bedroom, and the defendant came in and began choking her. We did have contact with this victim, who let us know she's the daughter of the defendant, that they lived together at this location. and confirmed that she was choked. She was unable to breathe, felt like the defendant did not let go until she was at the very brink of passing out. We will look into transferring this case as an ag assault strangulation. But for those reasons, we're asking for a $5,000 good bond with no further contact and to stay away.
All right. Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 40 years old. She has lived in Georgia for 13 years. She is currently in nursing school. She tells me that her mother and her nephew just passed away last weekend. And so the family's been going through a hard time. She does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. She states that she's the one who called the police. She says when the police came to when they arrived, that the complaining witness cried and told them not to take her mom to jail. Her mom, she has two children, 21 and 20. The complaining witness is the 20-year-old. And she also cares for the daughter of the complaining witness, who's 1-year-old, and they all live together in my client's home. Again, she's the one who called the police. Just because she states that the complaining witness was yelling at her and tried to diffuse the situation, she called the police. I understand there is some history, but I didn't hear anything violent. And I believe that she's not a danger to the community. She's not a flight risk, and this is her home. So I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services and no violent contact with the complaining witness. And I would object to a stay away since it's her home. And I just interviewed her, Your Honor, and haven't been able to speak with the complaining witness, but I believe that the son is on the call.
And Judge, my apologies. Miss Grayson did indicate to us that she would be on the Zoom. If we could sound for her as well.
Okay. Xylexia Grayson, if you are on Zoom, this will be the time to unmute and start your video. And who else wanted to contribute to this proceeding? This will be the time to unmute.
Do I gotta unmute myself?
I don't know who's speaking.
Oh, this her son. I'm sorry.
Jesse Hudson, you need to start your video.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I don't know how to work this. Wait. Okay, I'm on here. You can see me?
Lower the device so we can see you. Lower the device so we can see you. All right, now
Like this?
we're going to remove you from Zoom so you can go to your closet and put on some clothes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, remove Mr. Hudson from Zoom. Anything else?
Your Honor, I would just, before you rule on a stay away or no further contact, I would want to hear from the complaining witness, and she did indicate that she would be able to join, but just hasn't joined yet.
All right. I haven't seen the complaining witness, and the one person who shows up doesn't bother to dress up for court. This has nothing to do with the issue of bond. Bond is going to be set at $1,500. This is a surety bond. No contact with Xylexia Grayson to stay away from 3522 Devon Chase Road in South Fulton. She may go back for a one-time visit with a police officer to get her belongings, but within 30 days of being released, she must update the court with a new address. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. And I'll need her to take 2 anger awareness classes she's not on pretrial, so this will be a surety bond. Her next court date is going to be June 25th. I will revisit this bond once Mr. Hudson and or Ms. Grayson appear. Thank you. Next case, please.
Man, I'm here now. I'm here now. Is it too late? I got on closing off.
You want to put on your video?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I'm putting it on right now. You see me?
All right.
I got on closing off.
Raise your right hand. Other right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? What would
Yes,
you like to
ma'am.
tell me? What would you
I
like
would just
to?
like to tell you that I was aware of the situation that had to happen with my sister and my mom, and my sister hadn't called me. Was trying to plead what's going on. The same thing. I don't know if y'all can see the record on there, but the same exact thing happened with me and my sister to my mom. And but my sister is here on the Zoom call, so if she could speak, she could speak too. But my mom is not violent, and I don't really have much to say. But I
Okay.
am aware of the situation that goes on in the house. But it's not violent. It's just two females in the house, and I would think somebody would know how two females are in the house when they kind of clash. It's not
No,
too
Mr.
violent and
Hudson,
aggressive.
I don't know what it's like two females in the house. Would you like to elaborate? Because I really like to know, as a woman, how two women in one house behave.
Crazy. Sometimes they wake up and they disagree. So, and like it's like me when they disagree, I kind of like tell them like,
So what
"Hey, calm
happens? What
down."
happens when they disagree? Go on.
My mom leaves or my sister leaves. One of them leave the house.
That's not what happened in this case, according to the police officer.
Yes, man. I wasn't there this time, so I wouldn't even
Good.
know what happened. But
Okay.
I was
So
definitely trying to make it aware that my mom is not.
don't make these sweeping statements. They may offend someone like me.
Ma'am.
All right, thank you. You may remain quiet. Miss Grayson, you're on iPhone. If you
Yes,
really
I'm
like
here.
to, if you'd like to contribute, okay, number one, please stop moving. Okay, what's your name?
Alexia Grayson.
All right, please lower the device so we can see you. We don't want to look at your hat. We want to look at you. And you have to remove your hat. You're in a courtroom right now. All right, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
What would you like to tell us?
I mean, it's really nothing else to say. I mean, what I said was in the report. So, I
Okay,
mean, I really don't have too much to say, but
all right. Did you call the police?
yes, I did.
All right. Miss Tucker, did you have any questions of Miss Grayson?
Ms. Grayson, I know you spoke with our advocate this morning, but just to confirm, do
Yes.
you want contact with your mother?
No, I don't honestly know.
And would you like her to stay away from the location?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
Miss Ate, do you have any questions to ask of Miss Grayson?
I don't have any questions for Ms. Grayson. I would like to state that my client is recommended for a signature bond at level 2.
Mhm.
And
I would also go with that, except that right now, based on the warrant application and given her significant history, I am going to deny the signature bond on the grounds that also this is based on the statements in the warrant. It appears that this may be upgraded to an aggravated strangulation as well.
All right.
This is a 1,500 surety bond. I have not heard anything from the alleged from the folks who've appeared on Zoom to indicate a variance from the bond. Next case, please. Ms. Grayson, you may leave the Zoom.
We're gonna go with position number 1, Appling.
All right. I think I have private counsel also on Zoom. Is his client in the courtroom?
He's in the courtroom, but he's not on the calendar.
Okay. Position number 1. This is State versus Darren Marquette Appling, accused of battery, family violence from June 10th, 2024. Case number 24 CR 3631E. Mr. Appling, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Keith Cook. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Fifth arrest, 2024 FTA, 2019 probation, 2018 possession of marijuana conviction. That's it.
All right. Could you give me I'm sorry, I didn't write down the first things you said. How many cycles?
This is fifth arrest.
Fifth arrest. And what was the first one that you said?
2024 FTA.
That's what it was. And was it a Superior Court or State Court matter?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so it's not here. All
No,
right,
I have to look it up, but I'm just not. I didn't make note of it.
okay. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we would be asking for a $2,500 good bond with conditions no further violent contact with the victim, Tremiana Stewart. That's Tremianna Stewart. That's based on the risk of flight. You did hear that out of 5 cycles, his most recent is an FTA, as well as the violence alleged in these facts. It alleged that after a dispute over a cell phone, the defendant sat on top of this victim, struck her in the mouth, leaving a visible laceration that was actively bleeding when the police arrived on scene. We did speak with this victim ahead of time. She did let us know that she's actually pregnant, and the defendant knew that when he was hitting her. She did not have to seek medical attention. She doesn't want him to get in trouble. She's not in fear of him, but ultimately that's, the state's position is to keep everyone safe. So we are going to ask for that $2,500 good bond with the no further violent contact condition.
All right. Is private counsel Surinder Chadda still on Zoom? Please unmute and start your video.
Yes, Your Honor. How are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your client, Tripoli Freeman, is got a Superior Court case number 24 PI 003347.
Let me type that up real quick. Again, you're on 24 PI.
003347. And he's not on my calendar because these are only misdemeanor cases. So
Judge,
Perfect, Your Honor.
Judge,
Yeah.
that's the May 11th case, the ag assault against the officer, the opening case.
Okay, but it's not with state court. So I just want to make sure that Mr. Chadda knows he's at the wrong Zoom.
I do believe he's got new misdemeanor charges, and actually the family has retained Mr. Griggs. He's on the Zoom as well.
Okay, then I'll just wait until I address Mr. Freeman, who's not on my calendar. I'll have to wait. If y'all want to come back in half an hour, that'll be fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay,
Great seeing you.
thank you. You too. All right. Yes, Mr. Cook, any comment about Mr. Apley?
No, my client is 27 years old. He's lived here his entire life. The alleged incident location is not where he lives, so they don't live together. He has no objection to a no further violent contact, and he can stay away from the incident location. We would be seeking a signature bond through pretrial at whatever level the court deems appropriate.
And this victim did indicate she'd be on the Zoom. If we could sound for Treminia Stewart.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, Ms. Stewart, please raise your right hand. Where are you?
I'm right here.
No, I mean, what location are you at? Okay.
I'm currently in the hospital. I'm
Okay.
at the hospital. My mom has, so yeah.
All right. I just wanted to see where you were. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, please raise, you can put your hand down, please raise your phone device so it's in front of you instead of all the way down. Yes, what would you like to
Okay.
tell me? What would you like to say?
I don't say it again.
What would you like to tell the court?
I just want to tell them it was, relationships have disagreements or whatnot, and I don't want him to get a severe punishment. I don't mind having contact with them, just no violent contact. So I would prefer he get a signature bond because he's my supporter outside of, literally my only family wise. I don't think we don't have the funds and fees for a bond right now. So the best thing would be is a signature bond I'm not scared for my around him or anything, but yeah.
So the
I want
allegation,
contact with him, just
are
no
you
violent contact.
are you currently expecting?
Yes, I just found out, so I'm still early.
Okay. And the allegation is that he was sitting on top of you and struck you in the mouth.
No, that's not what happened. That happened after the fact when I got up. That didn't happen while I was on the bed.
Oh, so when you got up, that's when you were struck in the mouth?
Yes. And
Okay.
I pushed him back. That was it. And ran out the door, of course.
Understood. Thank you. I'm getting a crash course on relationships today. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Cook?
Nothing else,
No.
just following up from what the alleged victim has said, no violent contact. We'd be asking for further violent contact, and then a signature bond
All
at
right.
the appropriate level.
Thank you. Mr. Appling, right now your bond is going to be set at $5,000 and it's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services level 2. You'll be reporting to pretrial services twice a month. You can maintain your signature bond through pretrial as long as you comply with the following conditions. Number one, you cannot afford to be arrested again. If you get arrested again, you lose your signature bond. You are to have no further contact with Miss Tremiana Stewart, which means you are to stay 200 yards away from her and not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. Within 30 days of being released on your signature bond, you shall update the court with your current mailing address, which cannot be the same address that you share with Miss Stewart. If you and she are living at 599 Rockwell Street, then you are required to stay away from that location and not return to that location at all. You can go back one time only with a police officer to get your personal belongings. You're not to consume any alcohol. You're not to consume any illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. Also, within 30 days of being released, you shall enroll in a domestic violence intervention program. That's a 24-week program, and you shall show proof of enrollment to your pretrial officer by your 3rd visit. You are required to complete that program. This is not a condition of guilt or innocence. This is a condition of your bond. Thank you.
Position number 3, Ethel.
This is State versus James Eccles Jr., accused of battery family violence on May 24th, 2024. Mr. Eccles, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any prize, Mr. Howell?
5th arrest. Last was 07 weapons charge.
Thank you. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we would be asking for a $2,500 good bond with conditions no further violent contact with the victim, Chelamaco Brown. That's CHELIMACO Brown. That's based on the facts of this case. They're very violent. It was alleged that while she was bathing her child, that the defendant entered the room yelling, screaming, and cursing her, and then he slapped her in the face and proceeded to choke her. We did have contact with the victim this morning. We completed a strangulation assessment. I'm not sure that it would rise to a full ag strangulation for felony court to take it, but it's still concerning that he would put her hands around her throat, in an attempt to choke her. The victim is on the Zoom today. So we would be asking for that $2,500 good bond with the condition no further violent contact.
All right, Ms. Brown, do you have your audio connected? You do not have your audio connected? I cannot hear you at all. Mr. Cook, while we are waiting for Ms. Brown to get her audio connected, do you have anything to add?
Hey, Your Honor, my client is 52 years old. He is owns his own towing service. He has lived here his entire life. He denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. It is our understanding that Ms. Brown has now moved out and in fact has moved with the child to Kentucky. So there shouldn't be any problem with no further contact. He does not want any further contact. But we would again be asking, and maybe she can confirm that if her audio is put together there. So we would be asking for a signature bond at a pretrial level.
Ms. Miko Brown, if you've got your audio and video connected, you can start your Zoom in order to address the court if you want to. All right. On the battery family violence, bond is going to be set at 2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services, level 1. He's to have no further contact with me, Miss Shelmako Denise Brown. And is that his child that he shares with Miss Brown?
Yes, it was my understanding. Yes.
Okay, so there's no further contact. If he wants to have visitation or any kind of joint custody with the child, he has to file a legitimation action with the appropriate superior court to get rights to joint visitation and custody. He may return to the 5342 Lake Rock Drive Southwest location in South Fulton only if Miss Brown has vacated the premises. So on his first visit, he may go with a police officer to verify that she has vacated the premises. And if so, then he may return to the property. He is to attend and complete 2 anger awareness classes with pretrial. And he's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not to possess or own any weapons or firearms. Any firearms shall be surrendered to the authorities for destruction. Ms. Miko Brown.
Yes.
All right. Have you vacated the premises at 5342 Lake Rock Drive?
Yes.
All right. So in that case, Mr. Eccles may return to that location. Ms. Brown, do you share the child with Mr. Eccles?
Yes.
Are you married?
No.
Okay, so Mr. Eccles, in order for you to have visitation or custody of the child in question, you have to file a legitimation action. Thank you. That concludes this case.
We're gonna go with position number 9, Mitchell. Come on, Mitchell.
This is State versus Jonathan Mitchell, accused of battery, family violence, and criminal trespass from June 10th, 2024. Accusations 24 CR 3634F. Mr. Mitchell, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Atay. Any priors?
Fifth arrest, 2024 Douglas County, unlawful conduct during 911 calls. Got a case in Cobb for battery, also harassing phone calls. Another Douglas County case for unlawful conduct during 911 calls. All of those are open. That's all.
Ms. Desiano?
Your Honor, this incident took place June 10th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to the Economy Hotel located at 9995147 Old Dogwood Road in reference to a domestic disturbance. Officers arrived on scene and made contact with the victim, Miss Jamila Ware, who advised that her son was arguing with her about his open case in Cobb County. She was trying to convince him to get some help. The defendant began throwing things, damaged an $80 DVD player of the hotel's, pushed his mom onto the bed where her knees were on the floor and her torso was on the bed, and then continued to push her repeatedly. The victim sustained a scratch below her left ear. I will note that the officer did say that there seems to be signs of diminished capacity for the defendant, based on the questions he was asking, and he was talking in a child's voice, and he got very, very upset when he was arrested. We have spoken with the mother. She did say that she is the mother of the defendant. They live together at the incident location. She confirmed the events in the warrant, stated that the defendant only pushed her, he didn't hit her. She said nothing like this has ever happened before. She does not wish to press charges. She's not in fear of the defendant. She wants to continue contact, and she wants him to be able to return to the hotel. He does have several open cases. The state is recommending a $2,000 surety bond on the battery, a $5,000 surety bond on the criminal trespass for a total of a $2,500 surety, no further violent contact with the victim, FVIP, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond, and if we could sound for Jamila Ware.
Miss Ware, Miss Jamila Ware. Okay, Miss Ate?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 28 years old. He is a Georgia resident. I spoke with the complaining witness. She said the same thing to me. She wants contact with her son. She wants him to be able to return to the home. She stated that she may not be able to join the Zoom call because of just she's never used Zoom before. But she stated that, and my client also stated that he is disabled. He does suffer from diminished capacity, severe enough that it's noted in the warrant by the police officer. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. Again, there are, he has a disability, and he is recommended for a signature bond at level 2. He has other arrests for, 911 calls or something, and then those are all open cases, Your Honor. He has no convictions. So I would ask for a signature bond through pretrial services at level 1, and I would object to the FVIP. I don't know why that would be something necessary in this case when there's clear, a disability here. Nothing further.
All right. On the battery family violence, that's going to be a $1,500 surety bond. On the criminal trespass, that's a $1,000 surety bond. Total bond is $2,500. It is a surety bond. No further violent contact with Jamila Ware, W-A-R-E. He is to stay away from the Economy Hotel at 9995 Old Dogwood Road. He may return to that location one time only with a police officer to retrieve his belongings. But within 30 days of being released, he must update the court with his new mailing address, as he's not allowed to return to that Economy Hotel. No alcohol, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. Upon being released on bond, he must enroll in a MHET within 30 days and submit himself to any treatment that's required. Thank you.
I don't think that you can treat in this case. It's not a mental health issue. It's a disability that he was born with, Your Honor.
I don't know what is the condition, Ms. Ate. I'm not making any conclusions. I'm just basing it on his open cases of unlawful conduct during 911, on the fact that the warrant claims that he has an issue, and that the fact that the officers attempted to 1013 him. Those are the only factors in why I'm requiring an MHET. If it doesn't turn out to be an MH issue, then the issue just is moot.
Yeah, Your Honor, can we reset him to the competency calendar? The family can't afford a bond, and he is recommended for a signature bond at level 2. He has no convictions.
Let me confirm. Pre-trial, was there a recommendation?
It's a recommendation for everybody if you choose to get him one.
Okay.
I mean, it's the recommendation that was on there was 2. I myself not recommending because of these open cases. So it'd be per judge, if anything.
Understood. All right, that's the bond. Did you want to reset him to the 11 a.m. calendar, Ms. Ate?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a 2,500 surety bond, and the case is reset to, when's our next 11 a.m.? That's probably going to be June 20th. at 11 a.m. And would you be seeking an evaluation, Ms. Atay?
I'm going to, I'll be in touch with
Social
Mr.
worker?
Health. Mhm.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Next case, please.
Number four, Frazier.
This is State versus Aaron DeMarco Frazier. Is that correct? Deputy, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Frazier has got one count of battery against him from a June 10th, 2024 incident, case number 24 CR 3629D. Mr. Frazier, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Cook. Any prize, Mr. Howard?
2022 probation, 2020 FTA, 2019 probation. Got a 2018 given false name conviction, 2018 disorderly conduct battery DV conviction, 2016 disorderly conduct conviction.
All right. And I'm sorry, did you say 22 cycles and then a 2022 incident?
Correct.
Okay, just want to be sure. Thank you. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, we'd be asking for a $2,000 good bond in this case with no further contact with Kevin Harrison and to stay away from Marta. You did hear that the history is concerning for a risk of reoffense. He's got 22 cycles out of Georgia, and I've noted multiple violent cycles, that 2018 battery family violence, the 2016 disorderly conduct was battery family violence reduced. There was a 2011 battery, as well as the facts. They alleged he was trying to take the victim's bike. The victim was like, "Hey, don't take my bike." There was a little scuffle, and he just bit him right on the hand, because he was trying to get his bike back. So we haven't had any successful contact with the victim in this case, but based on the facts, as well as his risk of flight, there's the FTA in 2020. So based on the violence, the history, we would be asking for that $2,000 good bond with no further contact and stay away.
Mr. Cook?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 30 years old. He has lived in the area for 30 years. He is currently not employed. So a surety bond would be tough to make. He denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. And we have no problem with no further contact or a stay away from that particular MARTA location. We would be seeking a signature bond through pretrial.
Right. Bond is set at $1,000. It's a surety bond to stay away from all MARTA property. Next court date is June 25th. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no contact with Kevin Harrison.
Number five, Grace.
Willie Grace is accused of criminal trespass causing damage to property. Case number 24 CR 3627Y from June 7th, 2024. Mr. Grace, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Mr. Cook. Any prize, Mr. Howard?
69.
I'm not the attorney here, Your Honor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Atay is the, okay. Ms. Atay is the defense attorney. 69 arrest cycles.
Correct.
All right. Anything else?
2023 trespass. Got an open theft by taking out of the cab, some open battery charges, and interference with government property. On probation in Fulton for trespass, 23 CR 007223Y. 2022 FTA, 2022 a PI conviction, 2022 trespass conviction.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. Tucker?
Yes, Judge, State would be asking for a $2,000 good bond as well as to stay away from the incident location, which is Fellini's Pizza, Felini, Fellini, at 909 Ponce de Leon Ave in Atlanta. Essentially, it's based on the history. I've counted 16 criminal trespass within the last 10 years. And you heard from Mr. Howard how many cycles there have been just in, I think he got to 2022. So I think the risk of reoffense is extremely high. So despite, this isn't a violent charge, but with that history, we would be asking for a $2,000 good bond with a stay away.
Mr. Tate?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 52 years old, and of course, with all the criminal trespass, as you can guess, he is homeless and has been for many years now. He also suffers from MH issues. The warrant seems vague. It seems like Fellini's just doesn't want him there. He stated that he can stay away from Fellini's. I know he's probably not recommended, but he can't afford a bond. So I would ask for a signature bond, and he can report to pretrial because he does have a phone. Nothing further.
Bond is set at $1,000. It's a surety bond. Court date's June 25th. Stay away from 909 Ponce de Leon Avenue, the entire location known as Fellini's Pizza. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and weapons. Thank you. Next case, please.
Number 7, Keith.
It's her time.
Hold on.
This is State versus Richard Keith. It's a famous guy with a reverse name, but right now we have Mr. Keith, 24 CR 3632E, accused of battery, family violence from June 10th, 2024. Mr. Keith, I just want to confirm, is that the correct spelling? Richard Keith, Keith being his last name. All right, I see there's an Abby Keith there, so that's how it works. All right, Mr. Keith, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss Kim.
Yes.
Any priors, Mr. Howell?
Third arrest, 2011, battery, cruelty to children. That was dismissed. That's all.
Right, thank you. And
Judge, this incident took place June 10th, 2024. Officers responded to 1005 Carmichael Court in Roswell in reference to a dispute. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, Abby Keith, who advised that she and her husband were fighting. She attempted to shut the door and lock herself in her bedroom. And when she tried to lock the door, her husband forced the door open and the door struck her in the face, causing bleeding and bruising. Our office has been in touch with Miss Keith. She states that they're married. They live together at the incident location. They share no children. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated that they've had verbal arguments in the past where police have been called, but this is the first time there's ever been a physical altercation. She stated that she's not in fear of defendant and is okay with no violent contact, and she's okay with him returning to the residence. Judge, he does have a prior battery. I understand it was dismissed, but things can be dismissed for various reasons, not necessarily because he's innocent. The state is requesting a $2,500 surety bond on this case. No further violent contact with Miss Abby Keith. FVIP, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And I see Miss Keith on the Zoom. If we could sound for her now.
Miss Keith, if you'd like to contribute, you need to unmute your, yeah. Did you want to contribute?
Sure.
Please raise your right hand.
Oh,
Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
What would you like to say?
I'd like to advocate for no contact for the first 2 weeks. I no longer consider him a threat to me, but I would like a cooling off period. And also ask that he obtain immediate counseling, including family conflict therapy.
Where did you get this phrase, cooling off period?
Oh, myself.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Well, my client, Mr. Keith, is 53 years old, and as March 1511 case, that is more than 13 years ago, definitely 10 years ago. It's so remote, and it was involving totally different people. It has nothing to do with this case, irrelevant, Your Honor. We would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial. He really want to keep his job. He's got to get out of the jail to go to work. He's gainfully employed as a marketing person for business, and he does have a bachelor's degree. And I strongly prefer for no further violent contact. And he has no objection to counseling, all that kind of stuff, which is really good. That's all I want to say. And yeah, we would like to request for signature on bond 3. Actually, jail is preferred because he is recommended for UJR jail. Thank you.
Domestic violence is a very strange beast, and I don't issue contact orders that only for a limited time period. Mr. Keith, your bond is going to be set at $3,000, and it's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services, and that's going to be on a level 2 basis, which means you report twice a month. You shall have no further contact with Abby Keith. After today, you are not to communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. Ms. Keith, if you wish to reinitiate contact with Mr. Keith because things have cooled off, you have to contact the solicitor's office, who will then need to file a request to amend his bond order from no further contact to no further violent contact. Because from this point onwards, if he initiates contact with you or you initiate contact with him, and something happens and the police get involved, his bond will be revoked and he'll be back in jail. So from this point onwards, no further contact. Mr. Keith, you are not to return to 1005 Carmichael's Court in Roswell, Georgia. You may return one time only with a police officer to retrieve your personal belongings. And then within 30 days of being released on a signature bond, you shall update the court with your new mailing address. From this point onwards, you shall not cohabitate with Ms. Keith until further order of the court. While you are out on bond, you shall also enroll in a domestic violence intervention program within 30 days of being released. This is a 24-week program. By your third visit with pretrial, you must show proof of enrollment and that you are attending those classes. This is not a requirement of guilt or innocence. This is a condition of your bond where domestic violence is concerned. Please keep in mind that if you violate the no contact and things don't go well and the police get involved, you could be arrested on a more egregious charge of aggravated stalking, which means that you could be in jail for up to 3 months with no bond, which, as you know, will have a very adverse impact upon your job. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. If you own any firearms, they must be surrendered to the authorities for destruction. Your next court date will be sent to your new address. Don't forget to update the court with your new mailing address. Thank you.
My attorney. Hold on. We're gonna do the add-on, Mr. Freeman.
Add-on, okay. Sorry?
I didn't know we had an add-on either.
Ms. Bridgewater. This is the fun part about C calendar.
Judge
Isn't
and
it
Ms.
though?
Bridgewater, they just sent it out.
No problem, no problem.
But Holly, he was on the pull sheet though. It's Freeman.
Okay.
All right.
But I add
Not,
on calendar? Okay.
not a problem. So this is Tripolia Freeman.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Gerald Griggs on behalf of Triple E Freeman.
Yes, sir. As soon as Mr. Freeman comes to the chair and sits down at his own pace. Okay, good. Mr. Tripolia Freeman is case number 24 CR 003-648Y. This is in addition to our calendar for this afternoon. Mr. Freeman, I don't know if you're in the courtroom, but you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Gerald Griggs. Deputy in courtroom 2, did you give Mr. Freeman permission to remove his mask? Thank you. All right.
And you put that.
Did you give him permission to remove his mask, deputy?
No.
Mr. Freeman, you either put the mask back on or will I see you tomorrow? Thank you. Mr. Freeman's accused of reckless conduct, according to the accusation, which was filed today. And the allegation appears to be by discharging a firearm multiple times in violation of Georgia law 16-5-60B on June 9th, 2024 in Fulton County, endangering the bodily safety of one Antron Gilbert. Okay.
That was fourth arrest. Last arrest was May 11th, ag assault against law enforcement officer. That's 24 PI 003347. 2018 ag assault dead docket.
Could you give me the PI number again? I know that's the number I gave Mr. Chadha, but
003
uh-huh.
347.
Okay, now that makes sense. All right. Miss Tucker or Miss Desiano, who's taking this case?
Yes, Judge. The state would be recommending a $10,000 cash only bond in this case. I apologize for the late accusation. It's because we were looking into whether the DA would take this case. At this time, they haven't, so we've accused it as reckless conduct. But you heard not only does he have a short history, but it's violent. He committed or allegedly committed an aggravated assault just a month ago, so he's out on bond for that. So the propensity to commit another felony on bond is there. You heard an aggravated assault from 2018, as well as the facts of this case. It's gun violence for just the sake of it. There was a dispute over a neighbor getting on someone's lawn or something, a neighborly dispute. One neighbor shot a gun 2 rounds in the air. The defendant completely left the location, went inside his house to grab his gun, so he could have just stayed safe inside, but then he came out and started shooting just in various directions all over. Ultimately grazing one of the neighbors with a bullet. So these facts are very, very alarming. The history is very alarming. So we'd be asking for a $10,000 cash only bond in this case. If you're not inclined to give a cash only, then, definitely not a signature bond.
What's the bond order in the PI case? There was a $10,000 bond in that case. So what's the PI? What was the bond? 003347.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I can answer that. I represent him on the PI case.
Yeah.
That is a $10,000 bond. No contact with the victim.
Okay, let me see what it says.
And also
order for bond. This was a consent bond. And this was just issued last week.
That's correct, Your Honor. And when he was arrested for that case, all weapons were removed from his home. So there are some factual issues in dispute in this new case. Apparently, there's also a witness that Mr. Griggs and I have good faith information that the other neighbor heard the gunshots coming from another part of the neighborhood. So my client, unless the police made a mistake and didn't properly recover all guns from his home when he was arrested last time, then there's just no gun. A gun does not exist. But those are facts to be disputed at trial. Right now, we're just asking for a bond, Your Honor. He does have, to be candid with the court, this is a mental health situation. Mr. Freeman is a personal friend of mine. I went to law school with him. Attorney Maha Merkani, she's on the call as well. She went to law school with him. We're all very good friends with him. This is a matter of bipolar disorder that has been untreated. He does have a residential bed ready for him to go immediately after being released. He was going to go, but the intake is only on weekdays, so he couldn't go check himself in on Sunday. And then this incident with the neighbor happened. Again, we're not trying to litigate the facts of the case. We'll hopefully resolve this with the solicitor's office, but we are asking for a signature bond with the special condition that he go to the treatment facility, Your Honor, because that is what he needs. He is a licensed attorney. He actually had a few cases last week that we had to go handle, and he was aware of the cases he had going on. He told us about them. Me and Maha Mercani handled multiple of those cases. Some of them were scheduled for trial. He's still taking care of his clients, but right now he needs to take care of his mental health. And we are doing everything we can to protect his license and get him back to the help that he needs so he continues to serve his community as an attorney. So we're asking, with all respect to the solicitor's office, for a signature bond so his mom his mom is on the call, can focus on spending that money on his treatment.
And Judge, may I
Sure.
chime in here? And I appreciate Attorney Jimenez. I'm Attorney Gerald Griggs. I've been retained by the family. We have secured bed space at Riverwood Behavioral Health, which is waiting for him as we speak. I don't represent him in the other matter, but I have been in the background of this entire incident. I've known Tripp he's been practicing since 2010. I've known him since 2010. This is completely out of character for him. He is in the middle of a mental health episode, which he was previously. As Attorney Jimenez has said, and I have spoken to the witness, there are distinct issues with the factual basis for the warrants. I also spoke with the former solicitor in East Point, and I was on the phone with law enforcement for both incidents. So I have a strong belief that the facts will not play out as elicited by the state. Again, he has a bed that is waiting for him at Riverwood Behavioral Health. I can give the court the address and the telephone number for that bed. We simply be asking for, in this reckless conduct, and that's what it is, a reckless conduct allegation, he's presumed to be innocent. He is a licensed attorney, which means he has no criminal convictions at all. And so I understand the concern from the state, but the purpose of bond is to ensure that he returns to court. As an officer of the court, he's always come to court. I can attest that he's actually tried several cases with me. So for those reasons, Judge, I believe that a $10,000 signature bond with the special condition to report and to stay at the Riverwood Behavioral Health Center. And again, I could give the court the address and the telephone number. I don't want to give that on the live stream. I would just simply ask that. Again, he has been living in East Point for most of his adult life. His parents are on the call. His girlfriend is on the call. I've spoken with them at length. I've spoken with the witness who will attest that he did not have any guns, and the police did not retrieve a gun. They only retrieved ammunition. So there are some strong issues in this case, which we plan to litigate. But for the purpose of bond, we ask that you grant him the $10,000 signature bond with the special condition that he report to Riverwood Behavioral Health immediately.
Is that an inpatient place? Just a minute.
Yes.
Behavioral. So
yes, it would be. It would be.
He'll need to be admitted.
Yes, and they have already worked that out. They are prepared for his treatment admission today and are awaiting his arrival now.
Okay. Who else would like to chime in?
Judge, I just wanted to add that there were 4 independent witnesses to this event, and one of them is here now.
I just want to know who wants to chime in on Mr. Freeman's behalf.
I do, Your Honor.
All right, and you are Ms. Kane?
Yes, yes.
Right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and how do you know Mr. Freeman?
I am Mr. Freeman's girlfriend. I'm also an attorney.
And how long have you known him?
It will be 6 years in September.
All right. Are you familiar with the felony case that's ongoing?
Yes.
All right. Well, what else would you like to tell me?
I was there on Sunday, and we were both inside of the home.
I'm not interested in hearing about the alleged allegations.
Okay.
I
support
Mr. about whether this gentleman is going to be a repeat offender or be a threat to the community. That's what I'm concerned about.
No, Your Honor, I support Mr. Griggs's position in that Mr. Freeman would be served to be allowed to go into the mental health treatment facility to address the issue at hand, which is the fundamental issue that we are dealing with. Once that is addressed, Mr. Freeman is a contributing member to the community, from what I have seen as his girlfriend for the almost 6 years that I've known him.
Understood. Thank you. Anyone else?
I would like to chime in, Your Honor.
And
my name is Preston Johnson, and I am a neighbor in the community as well.
Okay.
And I have known Mr. Freeman for at least 30 years.
All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony that you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what would you like to tell me?
So I have known Mr. Freeman for over 30 years. I do not feel like he's a threat to the community. He has been a mentor to my son, who is 14 and in college right now. My son also wrote a letter in regards to him being free. He is definitely not a threat to the community. I was there each incident when things occurred, and there are some things that were not true that has been stated in regards to Mr. Freeman.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. Ms. Tucker, anything else to add?
Sorry, Judge. Maha Emerkani for Mr. Freeman as well.
All right. And raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right. What would you like to tell me?
I'm also co-counsel on the Superior Court case. The reason they consented to the bond in that case is because they are aware it's a mental health issue. But unfortunately, as Mr. Chada mentioned, because of the timing of when he was finally released and when they do admissions at the facility, he wasn't able to be admitted right away, which led to him, he had been in Rice Street untreated for about 3 weeks with no mental health treatment. So by the time he got out, his manic state had really increased. And that's what led to, the police being involved again this time. Again, there are, some factual issues that everyone else has already brought up. No gun was retrieved. His guns were taken. His girlfriend, Kim, was there when they heard gunshots outside. She was a witness that it wasn't, him firing any guns. And like I said, he just needs help. I've known Mr. Freeman for over 15 years since we were both in law school. I think everybody involved understands that this is a mental health issue, and it's now been untreated for over a month. So it's only getting worse, and he really needs treatment. He's a member of the bar in good standing for over 13 years with no bar complaints. This is not in his character. He's not a violent person. He's a sick person that needs help, and we're trying to get that for him today.
Anyone else?
Judge, if I may respond, if everyone on his behalf is done, I'm sure this exact thing happened 1 month ago during his felony bond hearing, and he has ultimately violated the bond by being rearrested. There's an alleged reckless conduct charge, so just the risk of reoffense is there. So we would stand by $10,000 cash. If you're not inclined to give cash, a $10,000 good bond, I would be just highly objectionable to a signature bond.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, Judge, I would just respond again. Allegations are just that, allegations.
Mr. Griggs, don't repeat yourself. Just tell me if there's anything new to add. I myself have privy to all the pleadings in all the cases and relevant to this matter. So anything that is, yes, I know these are allegations. He's presumed innocent in the eyes of the law, but I still have the Ayala factors to consider.
And that's what I was going over, Your Honor. He's lived in Georgia for over 30 years. He has no felony convictions. He has no failure to appears. He has no convictions of any kind. So the Ayala factors mitigate for him to receive a reasonable bond. We would argue a reasonable bond is $10,000 signature bond. And the condition that would protect the community is his immediate enrollment in a bed that's waiting for him at Riverview Behavioral Health, which he can go to immediately upon a release.
All right. Bond is set at $25,000, and that's going to be a surety bond. Mr. Freeman, yes, he doesn't have any felony convictions, which leads to his stellar record as an attorney, as a member of the community, as a family member, as a boyfriend, as a son, as a colleague, as a friend. He's got a stellar record. But recent incidences have been raising the alarms in this matter. And that's not to say an attorney is not susceptible to these problems. I appreciate the fact that he has got a stellar record. But my biggest concern is that this man was given no bond back in May. And then a few weeks later, he was given a consent bond. Less than 10 days later, he is discharging a firearm in public with a mental health condition. Where were these family members? Where were these friends when this was occurring? This is extremely dangerous. This is going to be a $25,000 surety bond because apparently the $10,000 bond that he received the last time didn't help. He reoffended, and not only reoffended, but in an alarming nature. My heart goes out to a member of the bar, but I also have to take into consideration that this is an extremely dangerous and volatile situation. Mr. Freeman is going to be granted a $25,000 surety bond. He is not to return to 2548 Lancaster Drive in East Point, Georgia. Yes, I know he lives there, but that's where his neighbor lives as well. So he's to have no further contact with Antron Gilbert. He's to stay 500 yards away from Antron Gilbert, 500 yards away. He will be admitted to the Riverwood Behavioral Center once he makes bond, and he'll be equipped with an ankle monitor at his expense for the next 6 months. So once he bonds out, the ankle monitoring company has to come to the jail and equip him with an ankle monitor to make sure that he does not go back to the location and that he is not a threat to the community. He will also relinquish possession of all firearms. Now, whether his family or his friends know where all his firearms are, they all must be gathered and surrendered to the authorities for destruction. Any and all firearms that he owns must be destroyed by the authorities. He will comply with the conditions of his felony bond, in which the original bond expressly said no weapons. This is not an unintelligent person. This is a smart individual. I am so sorry he's going through this mental health crisis, but this is something that is of an alarming and viciously dangerous situation created by Mr. Freeman. No alcohol, no illegal substances. And after 6 months, a motion may be filed to have his ankle monitor either continued or removed. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your
That
Honor, can I
concludes-
say one more thing? I'm so sorry. This is for Abby Keith. I think I misspoke earlier, and I just want to apologize
No,
about
Ms.
that.
Keith, I'm moving on. Thank you. If you have anything, please reach out to the solicitor's office. Thank you. Next,
Judge-
Mr. Keith.
Yeah, that concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, Mr. Griggs. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you too.
Number 8, Low.
This is State versus Christopher Shondell Lowe. Is this the one we needed to do a breakout?
No.
Okay. Mr. Lowe is accused of simple battery family violence from June 10th, 2024. I believe I've already advised him of his right to remain silent, and his attorney is Ms. Atay. Any priors?
Third, 2017 simple burglary conviction. That's all.
Simple burglary, like you mean burglary second degree, or?
It's out of state, so that's how they
It's
got
out of
it.
Louisiana, Judge.
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Daciano, what's your recommendation?
Your Honor, the state's recommending in this case the signature bond through pretrial services and no further violent contact with the victim, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol while out on bond. And that's based on the facts, Judge. This incident occurred June 10th, 2024. Officers responded to a fight in progress call at 7909 Roswell Road. Several callers said to 911 that there was a male restraining a female. Upon arrival, officers made contact with the victim, Miss Raina Patterson, who advised that she followed the defendant to this apartment complex because she suspected that he was cheating on her. She found him in the gym. She confronted him. The parties started arguing. She kept trying to leave the location, and the defendant was grabbing her, trying to prevent her from leaving in order to talk to her. At one point, she even admitted to the police that the victim got so angry that she went to the defendant's car and vandalized it, but she was not arrested in this incident. We have been in touch with the victim. She stated that they're in a relationship, they live together. The incident location was the defendant's old apartment complex. It's not their residence. She stated that she confirmed the events in the warrant. She said the defendant was not grabbing her in an aggressive manner. He was just only grabbing her because he was pleading with her. She said nothing like this has ever happened before, and she's not in fear of the defendant. So again, the state's recommending a signature bond through pretrial and no further violent contact with the victim, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if we could sound for Miss Raina Patterson.
Ms. Patterson, did you want to chime in? I don't know. I don't see anybody else with that name on Zoom.
One second. I'm trying to put the video
there's an
on.
iPhone there. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can't see you.
I'm trying to put the video on.
What? While we're waiting, Ms. Ate?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 26 years old. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He firmly denies the allegations as stated in the warrant. And I spoke with the complaining witness. She wants contact with him. She states that she didn't call the police. She didn't want the police to come. And she told me in these exact words that he was not violent with her at all. And, you know, the warrant supports that, states that she was following him, that witnesses only saw him holding her. He does state that she was the first aggressor, and, you know, he was trying to protect himself. According to the warrant, he was covered in blood. She didn't have any injuries, and also his vehicle was damaged. So I would, again, I would ask for a signature bond through the jail in this case. He has the history from 7 years ago, nothing violent, no violent history at all. So I would ask for a signature bond through the jail so that he doesn't lose his job, and nothing further.
All right. Bond is going to be set at 2,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services level 1. No violent contact with Raina Patterson. I guess they can still co-parent the child they have unless Miss Patterson has other ideas, because she's the one, unless they've legitimated, she's the one who has complete custody and controls visitation. Thank you.
Judge, will you repeat that bond again?
2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, no violent contact with Raina Patterson.
Okay.
Hello, Judge?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yeah, I'm allowing him to have contact with you. Did you want contact with him?
Yes, he's not violent or aggressive at all.
Got it. That's all done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Position 10, Murray.
Chad Murray, middle name Allen, is accused of theft by shoplifting from May 13th, 2024. Mr. Murray, your case number is 24CR003635C. Mr. Murray, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss Ate. Any priors?
46. We got 3 open shoplifting cases out of the cab. Open case out of Turner County for 911 calls, hang up.
That's good. Thank you. Miss Desiano?
Yes, Judge, this incident occurred May 13th, 2024 at the Target at 3535 Peachtree Road. Essentially, loss prevention, watch the defendant come into the store, go to the luggage section, grab a bag, and then fill it with various items, batteries, pepper spray, electronics, etc., and then tried to walk out of the store, passing all points of sale. The total merchandise was worth $442. The state's recommending, based on his history and his open shoplifting, is a $2,000 good bond, and stay away from all targets in Fulton County, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond.
Thank you. Miss Ate?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 37 years old. He is the father to 4 minor children. He has lived in Georgia all his life. He earned his GED. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant. it's a shoplifting case. I know that there are some open cases, and some for shoplifting and then 911 calls, hang up. I don't think that he's a danger to the community, and to stay away from all target in Fulton County. I wouldn't object to that. And I think that that would protect the interests of the public in this case. And he is homeless, Your Honor, but he does have an address where he receives mail. He also has family in Georgia and a good phone number. Again, he's not a flight risk. He has some open cases. He is recommended, I think, for a signature bond through pretrial services. And I would ask for the signature bond through pretrial services.
Mr. Howard, he was just released from Fulton County Jail in March of 2024. Did he plead to a felony case?
Your Honor, I believe he's on
aggravated
probation for
assault.
aggravated assault. Yeah.
He's not recommended. This history is extensive.
And Your
Just
Honor, for
FYI.
that aggravated assault, he does tell me that it was a toy gun that he was in possession of. And, you know, he does maintain his innocence in that open. Well, I don't know if he.
I've got time
I don't
served.
know.
I've got time served for ag assault.
Well, I mean, I guess.
What innocence is he maintaining in that?
Well, I
case?
guess I didn't see that, but he did tell me that it was a toy gun. Of course, people are desperate to get out of jail, so they'll take pleas even if they.
Oh, please don't say that. We'll not get through any plea if that's the situation. Okay.
Well,
Mr. Murray, your bond is set at 2,000. It is a surety bond. Unfortunately, your criminal history record, your multiple open cases, and the fact that you recently took a felony plea do not qualify you for a signature bond. Your next court date is going to be June 25th. You are to stay away from all Target stores, no matter where they exist. And your next court date, we'll see you at that time. Thank you.
Position number 11, Scott.
Alexander Jamal Scott is accused of theft by taking on May 29th, 2024. His accusation is 24 CR 3636A. Mr. Scott, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim? Ms. Atay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I apologize. I
No
was
problem. Just
thinking
trying to
about the phone
figure out
call.
who is who. Okay. And any priors, Mr. Howell?
Third. Last arrest was June 4th, death by taking. March 28th, death by taking. That's all.
All in this jurisdiction?
No.
Where was the June 4th?
Hold on, let me pull it. I think it was Cobb, but
I
I'll
think
pull it.
the one in May was in Cobb. I don't actually have the June one.
June, you don't have the June 4th? Let me see. Oh, that's what it said. All right. Yeah, June 4th was Cobb County.
Cobb County. And
yeah, March was Cobb County. So they both were out of Cobb.
all right. And Ms. Desiana?
Your Honor, this incident took place, well, the police were called on June 2nd, 2024, but this incident took place on May 29th, 2024. Officers responded to 1631 Randall Mill Place Northwest in Atlanta in reference to a theft. Upon arrival, they made contact with the victim, Nikuni Latka, who advised that he had a package that was delivered on May 29th around 2:21 p.m. And then at 2:49 p.m., the defendant is seen on his Ring camera footage stealing the package from his doorstep and then entering his vehicle. The owner was able to capture the license plate of the defendant's car, which is how he was ultimately apprehended. And the package had 2 pairs of Nike shoes worth $212.33. The state is recommending he does have 2 open theft cases, a surety bond of $2,000, no further contact with the victim, a stay away from the incident location, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol out on bond. And if you could sound for Nikuni Latka.
I'm not sure if I saw someone by that name on Zoom. Was that Mr. Laka?
Yes.
I didn't see anyone by that name, at least. I have an iPhone, but I don't know who that is. All right, Ms. Kim.
Yes, Your Honor. My client, Mr. Scott, is 25 years young, and he is currently residing with his mother and driving a car to do DoorDash and Uber. He denies the allegation. Your Honor, he's just because there are open cases, that does not mean he's not guilty of any of them. He's presumed to be innocent, and we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial as a level 2 is recommended for. He went to Arkansas Baptist College for business management school. He did not have a bachelor's degree yet, but he is pursuing for school, and he does not have any children. We have no objection to stay away from that location. However, we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial. Thanks.
Bond is set at 2,500. It is a surety bond. To stay away from Mr. Laka, and to stay away from 500 yards away from the entire neighborhood at 1631 Randall Mill Place in Northwest Atlanta. 500 yards is the length of 5 football fields. So please keep that in mind. Next court date will be June 25th.
Position 14, white.
My bad.
Javon White is accused of battery and cruelty in the 3rd degree. June 9th, 2024 is the alleged incident date, and accusation 224 CR 3641D. Mr. White, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Oh, Ms. McLeod, I'm so sorry.
Your Honor, I still have not had the opportunity to speak with him.
Okay. Let's see. Deputy, how will we be making arrangements for defendant to speak with their counsel?
Stand by, please. He said that he spoke to Kim first because they told him he was represented by Ms. Kim, but stand by, someone calling him now.
Okay. While I'm waiting, which Miss Kim, which case did you want to do a breakout?
It was Mr. Turner, Your Honor, Malcolm Turner.
Okay, and Ms. Atay or Mr. Cook, did you have any cases for breakout? No?
I have a position number 2 is a PI, so we'd want an empty courtroom, I think, on that.
Okay.
I don't have any other cases, Your Honor.
All right. Miss Grace, can we pause the live stream, please? Okay. I have a Stephanie Driver. Please start your video and unmute. I have an iPhone. Please start your video and unmute. Teresa Johnson, Devontae, please start your video and unmute. Courtney Foote, please start your video and unmute. All right, if you do not start your video and unmute, I'll have to remove you from Zoom. Teresa Johnson, iPhone. Okay, Mr. Devontae, who are you here for?
Malcolm Turner.
All right, I'm going to put you in the waiting room and then we will address you shortly.
Okay.
Miss Grace, if you could place Devontae in the waiting room, please. Courtney Foote, who are you here for? Courtney Foote, who are you here for? No, I can't hear you at all. Your audio is not working. Stephanie Driver, who are you here for?
Homer Anderson.
Anderson.
I don't see that on our calendar.
That name is not on our calendar.
Okay.
All right.
And Your Honor, Courtney Foote is the victim in Javon White.
Courtney Foote, okay. We can place her in the breakout room, please. Miss Grace, you can place Devontae and Courtney Foote in the breakout room. You will be admitted when we are addressing your cases.
Sorry, Judge, you said Devontae and
Devontae and Courtney Foote.
Okay, thank you.
All right. iPhone, again, last call. Please unmute and start your video. All right, Miss Grace, please remove iPhone from the Zoom. Courtney Foote and Devontae have to be in the breakout.
Did Foote get off? Because I don't see her.
Courtney Foote?
Oh,
Yeah,
I heard her.
yeah, she needs to be in the waiting room, and Devontae has to be placed in the waiting room as well.
In the breakout room, correct,
No,
Judge?
waiting room, waiting room.
Oh, you want them in the waiting room?
In the waiting room, yes, please.
Okay, not the break.
Not the breakout. I misspoke. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay.
Your Honor, if I may. Your
No,
Honor.
no, not yet.
I was just a question.
I'll address it when your case is called. Thank you. I think I only have court staff now and Miss McLeod. All right. Mr. Cook, who was your client in courtroom 2? Position 2? And we have to stop the live stream too, Miss Grace.
Okay,
That's,